Hey, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dustin.
And we're local Historia.
Today on Hidden Happy Valley,
we're going to visit Eagle Ironworks in Curtin Village. Let's check it out.
Good afternoon and welcome to Curtin Village and Eagle Ironworks.
Thank you. Can you just tell us about the site in general, what is here and why is it here?
Well, this is a property that's owned by the Pennsylvania Historical Museum Commission, but it is managed by a foundation called the Roland Curtin Foundation for the preservation of Eagle Iron Furnace. It's a mouthful there.
Yeah.
We're members of that foundation. So that's why we're here. The reason this site is here is because it's been deemed very historically significant, and it was threatened in the early 60s when the Army Corps, after a series of floods, decided to build a reservoir down near Howard. And when the people looked at the plans, almost all of this site was going to be underwater.
So essentially you have an ironworks, and you have a mansion of an iron master, and then you have a village of workers' homes, right?
Correct, that's right. And the ironworks includes more than just the furnace.
Right.
It includes the casting house, the charging house, the blast house, the clear shed. So you can walk around all of those or inside.
Great.
As we go.
we're standing outside the Iron Master's house. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. This home was constructed in 1830 for the Roland Curtin family. Roland Curtin, as we know, is the Iron Master. It was constructed in the Federal style, which the character-defining features of the Federal style building are the symmetry of the windows, the arches that you see over the front door, and the dormer windows at the top, and then when we walk by the mansion on the ends, you'll be able to see fanlight windows that flank either side of the chimneys at the end of the building. It was constructed of stone and has stucco overlay on it. The other thing I'd like to point out that there are examples of iron thresholds in this house that could have been a product from Roland Curtin, and most likely are. I can't imagine they wouldn't be. There's a few things we can point out in the kitchen too that were produced here on the property. So we'd like to welcome you to come inside and see, walk through. This home is constructed with its 15 rooms, 10 fireplaces, and so there are 5 fireplaces on each floor. Please note that the style of the fireplaces is very unique in that each of them is slightly different from the other. They're pretty much the same size, but the woodworking surrounds on the fireplaces are slightly different. So this would have been the formal parlor, and often when we had a federal house with double parlors like this, the parlors mirrored each other, so they would have been arranged with furniture mirroring each other, as I said. Okay, so this is the kitchen in the house, and there are a couple things I would like to point out here that were made at Curtin. The andirons, for those who may not know, an andiron is an item that holds the logs in place and keeps them from rolling out onto the hearth. And the other thing is this is called a crane. It's attached to the structure of the fireplace, and it was used to hold the kettles that they were cooking in. So this was made at Curtin, so were the andirons, and I'm standing in front of the only piece that we have here that actually has Curtin's name on it. And this would have been a stove back or a stove front.
That's what I told him. I said, I'm a history nerd, so like I was nerding out looking at the steps and the wear pattern on every step. It's neat that you can just see how over 100 years here people have been walking up one side of the steps.
So yeah, this is a very unique site, right?
Yes, it is. It is. It is the last operating coal blast charcoal-fired iron furnace in Pennsylvania. The last in operation in Pennsylvania and perhaps in the United States. Would you like to see the furnace?
Yes, please.
Okay, we're headed there.
So we're standing in the charging house, which is one of the structures that is appended to the actual furnace stack over here. This is where the materials that were used in iron making were brought to be put into the top of the furnace. So you would have had people coming in from far away bringing charcoal. You needed about an acre's worth of lumber to make enough charcoal to fuel the furnace for a day. And you didn't have anything more than just your natural resources like stone, sand, and brick made from mud. So they figured out a way to do it in England.
And then your air can flow from the water-powered bellows are coming in there. That's the cold blast.
It's a cold blast coming
Yes.
in.
You'll see that. Equalizes the pressure in the center box and forces it out through the tweer pipe. And the tweer pipe is coming in, essentially providing that cold blast of air at the bottom of the furnace to keep the oxygen supply going for the operation.
So we were upstairs and we saw some of the process, and now we're down below where the iron comes out, right?
That's correct. That's correct. And so this is where all of the effort of fueling the furnace using the water supply that's necessary produced molten iron, which came from this arch. We're able to remove the stone at the base of the opening and allow the molten iron to flow out through a trough, which there is one segment here left. It would have been a continuous trough the whole way though to the furnace, but we only have a section of it. And that molten iron would flow into this trough, and it would flow into these little channels that have been dug in the sand floor. This is a combination of sand and fine dirt floor, and the molten iron will go down each one of those little channels, and that's where the name pig iron came from, because this channel represented the mother sow or pig, and the babies who were suckling from the mother are the bars or the pig irons.
So what is the significance of the bell up here?
They would ring it when they needed additional workers at the furnace, either for the draw of the iron, molten iron off of the furnace, or if there was another issue. So workers were living in the village, which is right across the street from here, or perhaps in the boarding house, also across the street from here, but much closer to the furnace. And people would then come and assist.
Do we see the village?
Oh, sure.
Great.
Sure. So Mr. Dukeman's house was right over here. It's a two-story house, and he was the blacksmith for the furnace. So he would have had a big job, taking care of all the horseshoes or all the horses that were being used, doing anything else related to, forming items out of iron. And then as we leave here and go back toward the furnace, on your left is the foreman's house. He was the foreman for the furnace, and he had a vision of the furnace the whole time because he was right across the street.
Why is it important for us to share and preserve local history like Eagle Ironworks in Curtin Village?
Preserving this site, Eagle Ironworks in Curtin Village, is very important because it provides us a greater understanding of the significance of iron making in central Pennsylvania and of architecture, workers' lives, how they worked in the 19th century. And it gives us a better understanding than perhaps what people can read in any document, because it's providing the overall picture on one site where we can provide the story of residents, the story of the iron master, the story of transportation, and how the product gets to market, the economic impact of it, the political connection to it. I mean, all those are stories embodied in Eagle Ironworks and Curtin Village. And that greater understanding and the significance of iron making is important to Central Pennsylvania.
Hidden Happy Valley is a series highlighting lesser known places and interesting spots in Center County. It is brought to you by